Hi everyone, it's the middle of March, time for an update. So, let's start with our January sweater, which is here. I finished the pockets. They are double knitted, which means I knitted them while I was knitting the whole thing, so I didn't have to sew them on or anything. Here's the first side of the button placket. You can see how nice that's coming out. Here is the here we go, the sine wave cable. That's 3 strands. They are crossing over each other. It's been interesting. And then here's the all over pattern. I'm almost finished the second repeat going up, so more of it, and then the second sine wave pocket, and then our button placket. By my calculations, I have one more repeat of that all over back pattern, and then it'll be time to separate for the front and the back so that I have somewhere to put the sleeves, because I'm trying to mimic Elizabeth Zimmerman's structure without actually steeking. I'm not going to shape for the sleeves. I'm just going to separate. So I'll have front left, front right, and then the back, and they'll be separate. And what I figure I'm gonna do is I'll probably put the 2 fronts on waste yarn and do the back up until where the shoulders will start, and then I can do the fronts because there's going to be shaping for a V-neck, but a shallow one. So I've got a sweater that I'm using for the sizing comparison stuff, and it has a bit of a lower join in the front because it's also a cardigan. So, and my husband would like it a little bit higher, so I'll just move that up a little bit, and that will have shaping. And then once they're both, the front and the back, are at the same point, then I can work out shaping the shoulders and joining them, because I want to use the Kitchener stitch to join at the shoulders so that it looks like it was all knit in one piece. I am not normal. I know that. It's okay. And then I'll be able to pick up on the sides for the sleeves, and then I can pick up all around the front and the neck so that I can make this ribbed shawl collar. I have never done a shawl collar before, but so far as I can tell, it's just short rows, and you short rows starting at the back of the neck, and you gradually build them out until your collar has as much flow and fold over as you want, and then you're done or something. I'm not totally sure exactly how it's going to work out, but we'll deal with it when I get there, because of course there's also a button placket underneath the shawl collar that I need to deal with. So this is going to take a while to finish, but I am going to finish it in this calendar year. So there. Actually, considering the fact that I had to restart it, I am pretty pleased with how far I've gotten so far. Okay, let's look at the February things. Now, first, of the things that I hadn't finished yet in my last video, because I had done the pot holder. So, baby blanket, we are this far because I got distracted by other things that felt more fun than knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip all the way across. That's just how it is. I haven't quite finished the first ball. I figure I'll finish this ball and then I'll do a second ball and then I'll call her done. And we'll see how big of a blanket I end up with from that. So that's the baby blanket. And then after the baby blanket was the shawl. The shawl is over here somewhere. How can you tell? I have not worked on it much at all. Basically it's the same size. I don't know where it is. That's how much I have not been working on it. Okay, if I find the shawl while I'm editing this video, I will add a clip showing you how far it is here. Okay, so after the shawl, I want to make sure I show you in the right order that she talked about things in here. So after, yes, the book is down here. After the shawl was the jacket, the baby jacket. The baby jacket is right here. Okay, baby jacket. I'm using that Awesome Sauce variegated yarn. I used that for the yoke, and I'm using it for the button placket. I'll use it for the hem around the bottom and for the sleeve cuffs. The main of it is this black. It's the same kind of yarn. It's a little bit heavier, but it's hard to see the pattern because it's black. But see, there's this, let's see if I can get this to really show. There, that's the pattern. So it's top down. And I didn't finish the sleeves completely because I wanted to make sure that I could make the body of it long enough, because I only have one skein of each, but I'm using less of the multicolor yarn than I am the black. So the plan is to finish up the body and get the whole bottom border all done too, and then I will finish the sleeves and do the cuffs, and then it'll just need buttons. So that's the baby jacket and where we're at with that. And then okay, so then baby leggings, I have not got very far on them at all, mostly because it's on double pointed needles and that is kind of a pain. But I did start, and I am working. I got the waist band done, but I need to finish that, and then there will be a bunch of shaping to do for the back, and then separating for the legs, and then there's booties and so on and so forth, and you know, we'll get there eventually. And then the last thing for February is a bonnet, and she's hilarious. She's like, make a bonnet, your favorite bonnet, and then just add a neck thing to it. So I have never made, well, I know that's not true. I made 2 bonnets before, but it's not something I do regularly. So I found a basic pattern. My yarn is thicker than the yarn that they expected you to use in the pattern, but I did it and I just modified it a teeny bit for the yarn and to match Elizabeth Zimmerman's info, and it is actually finished except for buttons and weaving in the ends. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So you see it's I got this yarn at Dollarama, and it's just your basic acrylic, but it's really, really soft, which is why I thought it would be great for this. Plus the color kind of goes with the theme of the other stuff that I'm doing for the baby things. So that is that. So see, it does up, it'll do up down here. There's for the buttons, I've got 2 buttonholes down here. And then the idea is that you put it on and you can do it up, and then these bits go underneath the jacket and keep the baby warmer, because there's an extra layer going underneath the jacket. So it's fairly large, but one thing I do have to note about her instructions for all of these baby things, her little random instructions for the baby clothes, she's like, here's your gauge, but babies come in various sizes, so it'll fit eventually, basically. It's pretty funny. For the leggings, she says, don't worry too much about size. Babies vary and knitting stretches. So I think that's just really funny. Okay, Elizabeth. All right, so that was February. And of course, I will keep you updated as we go, because I am actively working on those unfinished pieces, except for the shawl, which, like I said, I'm not 100% sure where it is right now. I will find it. It's fine. Really. Okay, so now we're at March. March is a difficult sweater. Not really. It's color work, which is exciting for me. I haven't really done color work before. So I get to start doing, like, except for stripes, like now switch to color 2 and now switch back to color 1 on your next row. I've done more color work in crochet than knitting, which is hilarious when you think about it. Anyway, so I think, what shall I read to you this month? I think I might read, it's kind of long, but I'm going to read you the opening of the chapter on March, because it's about how much yarn to buy, and I think that's pretty interesting. She is a yarn snob. She does not like acrylic, as we learned last month, but that's okay. That's okay. She's a yarn snob. It's all good. Everybody has their thing that they're very picky about. So, a knitter's question, which arises perennially, is, how much wool shall I buy? To this question, there is no blanket answer, but several qualified ones. If you are using very thick wool, buy more than you could possibly imagine. If you are using very thin wool, buy surprisingly little. The rule of thumb is that 5 or 6 4-ounce skeins of knitting worsted is about right for the average adult sweater. That is 20 to 24 ounces. A really massive sweater in giant wool at perhaps 2.5 stitches to 1 inch. Wow, that's like, wow. May take 2 pounds of wool or even more. If you are using Shetland, or any wool of comparable thinness, knitting up at around 6 stitches to 1 inch, you can usually get away with 10 ounces for an average sweater. I don't measure my yarn in ounces. I measure it in grams. But anyway, that's okay. I'm Canadian. We measure things in grams. Well, we measure yarn in grams. We measure people in pounds. And when I say Shetland, I mean study the label carefully. If it admits to unfolding a yarn of only 5% Shetland, even its manufacturer must agree that it is hardly Shetland at all and should not be counted as such. It is also sometimes quite a bit thicker than real Shetland. Real Shetland wool is a truly exclusive product, as it has to come from a cluster of small islands off the north coast of Scotland. And these islands have room for only a limited number of their special sheep. The wool is spun at 2-ply, finely, very finely, and very finely indeed, almost of cobweb fineness. The most usually found is the first of these three, which should be worked at a gauge of 6 stitches to 1 inch, or even more tightly if you wish. It yields a soft, lightweight, and economical fabric. The whole matter of quantity of wool boils down in part to the observance of our old friend gauge. If you are going to use a thick wool at a large gauge, you will need more by weight than if you are planning a finely knitted sweater at a small gauge. Thus, if cost enters into the picture for you, remember that although fine wool may cost more per ounce than thick wool, a thin sweater nearly always costs less than a thick one because the wool goes so much farther. Some imponderables are the way you knit and the kind of clothes you like. A tightly knitted garment takes more wool than a loosely knitted one, as the fabric will be denser. Sweaters for people who like their things long and wide are naturally going to take more material than for those who like their things short and skin tight. A ski sweater with color patterns takes more wool than a plain one. How much more depends on the incidence of the patterns. A lightweight lace-patterned sweater at a large gauge takes the least wool of all. Have I covered everything? The best answer I can give then is threefold. 1. Ask the sales clerk. She has a horror of selling you too little, as she well knows the headaches that can ensue from running short. She also has a vested interest in making a good sale, which fact is often pleasantly qualified by a willingness to take back leftover skeins, if neat and clean, within a reasonable length of time. Preserve your sales slip. 2. Keep a little book in which you enter details of every project you complete. Kind of wool, gauge, amount of wool, final measurements, reaction of recipient, years of wear. Your book will be of signal help when you embark on a new project. 3. Buy too much wool. As I told you, wool shops are very understanding about surplus skeins. Better find out, though, just how understanding they plan to be. If you do have wool left over, do not despond. It can go into your wool drawer and wait for many future uses. Borders, color patterns, small socks and mittens, even mending. Or needlepoint and crewel embroidery. Perhaps the most gratifying use is in a large casserole afghan, in which you can show your skill and inventiveness by employing numberless different patterns, colors, and weights of wool. Thin wools may be doubled or trebled to make them conform approximately to the general gauge. Thick ones may be split for the same purpose. What do you do if you run short of wool and cannot match it? You can do one of several things, some of which entail ripping, but ripping in a good cause. If you are in doubt at the beginning as to the sufficiency of the wool, 1. Make the sleeves last. Divide the remaining wool for them in half and make 3/4 sleeves if necessary. 2. Plan a circular sweater from the bottom up. If there's not enough wool for the yoke, make it in a different color or with many color patterns. The method is suitable for round or raglan yokes. 3. Plan a sweater from the neck down and finish the lower borders in a different color or with color patterns. If running short comes as a rude surprise, there are several little dodges you may like to try. 1. Make all borders of a different color. Take out the lower body ribbing. Use the wool gained to finish the shoulder or whatever and add ribbing of a different color. 2. Make the sleeves of a different color with cuffs of the main color. 3. Blend in wool of a pretty good match by working 2 inches of alternate rows of the 2 shades. 4. Use your ingenuity and invent another dodge. I would be happy to know of it and pass it on, as this problem crops up all the time and with nearly everybody. So, how much wool to buy? Goodness knows. But let me show you my swatch cap for this March sweater, because I am pretty pleased with it so far, even though I have not gotten tremendously far. Here we go. This is it so far. The colors and the yarn. This is fingering weight yarn from Knit Picks, and I'm using my Knit Picks interchangeable needles. How exciting. So the colors, this kind of light blue, it's Knit Picks Palette Clarity. This one is called. The yarn is fingering weight 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So it's good quality, hand wash, dry flat. Anyway, but this is the weight that Elizabeth was talking about in that. This is 7 to 8 stitches equals 1 inch for its expected gauge. But anyway, now the other yarn that I'm using, because now it looks black, but if you look carefully, you'll see the little bits of kind of greenish in there. It's gorgeous and it's really neat. I can't wear black next to my face, which is why I've got the light blue down making the ribbing on this hat, and why I'm using the black as the background, because I'll show you in a second how much I have. But this color is also palette, and it's called Midnight Heather. So here's the thing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 balls of the Midnight Heather and 4 balls of the blue, of the Clarity. So I am not sure how that's going to work up in the end, but I'm kind of hoping that when I'm done the swatch cap, I'll have a better idea. I guarantee you, given how long I've had this yarn and not been using it, that if I don't have enough to finish the sweater, I will not be able to match the lot numbers. So if I do run out, then I will take the sweater to my local yarn shop and find a fingering weight complementary color to use for the bottom hem and the ends of the sleeves and the 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 neck hem, because yeah, that is that. Now that is the Knitter's Almanac for now. I have one other fun project that I want to show you today, and then we will be finished our knitting update for March. And that is, I neglected to show this to you last month, but I am pretty excited about it. I have a good friend who got contracted a flesh-eating disease a couple of years ago, or last year. Time isn't real. I don't remember how long ago it was. Anyway, she lost her arm to the disease, and so I am making her a stump cover. And you guys, it's a shark. This is her sense of humor. She thinks it's hilarious. She knows I'm doing it. So I'm using the white. I used the white baby yarn that I'm using for that shawl for the teeth on this shark, and then I have this acrylic yarn. This red is really soft, and then I've got this gray that you do most of it in. So I'm pretty pleased and excited, and hopefully I will get her done, and then hopefully we'll be able to show you a picture of it in use when it's done. But yeah, so that is all my knitting at the moment. Yes it is. And in other worlds of chaotic creativity, I do have all filmed. I need to edit still. A drawing. I made a drawing and I filmed the whole process of actually making this drawing. So I will hopefully be able to edit that and get it up sometime soon. And then there is one other there's one other project that I'm hoping to do. This is the sweater that I am using, the cardigan that I'm using to size the Aran cardigan for my husband. And it's been worn, and very well worn. It is, company is Black Brown 1826. See? And the it is 80% lamb's wool and 20% nylon. So, but it has been worn so much that there's little holes in a few places on this sweater. It also does need to be washed. It's starting to wear, which, I mean, is normal. But in particular, check out these elbows. Like, oh my goodness. The other one is worse. So this sweater was made with these ribbed elbow patches, which is an interesting choice. And so what I am planning to do is repair these, or replace them actually, using some crochet cotton thread that I have. I'll let my husband choose the color, etc. Then what I'm hoping is that I'll be able to salvage some of this yarn from the elbow patches to use to repair things like this. Can I show this to you? This hole here, see? That just needs a couple of stitches, and I can do I can use a needle and the yarn to actually like replace the stitches. It's not that hard to fix holes using the thread or the yarn. So see, here's the other side. So if I just replace these, then I've got all this yarn that I can use for fixing the holes. So I'm hoping that that will meet with my husband's approval, and then I'll be able to do that. And so, because yeah, like look, there's another hole up here, just a little guy, but it'll be easier to fix it properly if I can use the actual yarn that the sweater was originally made out of. So that's what I'm hoping I will be able to do. And I am perfectly happy to film the process of doing all of that work if people would be interested. So if that is something that you would like to see, please tell me in the comments, and make sure that you do actually subscribe to this channel so that you do see when I actually make that video, because I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that sometime this year. So that's where we're at. I might in April I will have a colorwork swatch cap to show you. I will probably have started on the sweater, which I am still thinking about exactly what I want to do for the colorwork design, because why would I do it exactly the way Elizabeth Zimmerman says? I'm following her instructions for the beginning of the swatch cap, but then I'm going to start trying different things, keeping her idea, but making it my own, because that's how I like to do things. I just like to really play with them. And then, and so next month I will have the start of that probably to show you, and hopefully some more baby things finished and more progress done on the sweater. And April is a blanket. So, we will see how that goes. But it is just one blanket, so hopefully I will be able to complete whatever size I end up making of this blanket easily. Sorry, there's a cat in here and she's being weird. There's a picture window over there and she's like freaking out, probably because there's pigeons. Not that she's ever even tried to catch one of the pigeons, so far as I know. But anyway, she likes to watch them and do that clicky thing that kitties do. Yeah. So anyway, so that's where that is at. I have so much random yarn that I don't think I will have trouble with making the blanket. The main problem I'm going to have is deciding exactly what yarn to use for it. But that's actually a good problem to have, don't you think? Anyway, and if you like the idea of the drawing, keep an eye out for that. and let me know if you like it when I do get it up, because then I will try and do more of my artwork drawings as well. And I think that's where we're at for creative chaos for March. Have a good rest of the month, and keep an eye out for my next update.